Hello everybody, it's me, Nikki, and today I'm here with part of a series, I guess. I've done it before on my channel. It's my top 9. My top 9 favorite whatever, and today it's my top 9 favorite book series. I thought this would be fun to make. I tried to do my top 9 favorite books, but that was actually harder than I thought. So, my top 9 favorite book series is something I can definitely do. The bottom, I'd say 5, so the ones I'm going to show you, 9 through 5, those can be sorted in any order, but the top 4 are the top 4. Okay, so number 9 is the Dragonlance series. The first one I read was, oh gosh, I don't remember, but it was sort of like, because this is the first one with everybody, and the one I read was after all of this, and shit had gone down, and people were dead, or now bad, or whatever, and I was like, oh, why don't I start at the beginning? And so I did, and I have, oh gosh, I don't even know if they're in here, probably not, because this is the first one, but I have a bunch of other ones as well, because there's another 3-part series, I think, and they're like this thick, and then they only get thicker. So that's fun. Next, I have a list on another tab, so I'll be going over there. Oh, okay. Next is World of Warcraft. I love the game World of Warcraft, and I really enjoy these books as well, because they add detail to the game, and I guess, like, yeah, this stuff should be in the game, but it's, look at that. How are you going to fit all that information in a game when most people don't even read the quest text? So the books are good, and I've got a couple others down here, and I'm actually thinking of getting the ones that have to do with, like, pre-World of Warcraft, like the dragon aspects or whatever. And I should really get the book about Vol'jin, because I love Vol'jin so much. R.I.P. The next one is one I just read recently, but I loved it. Amelia Peabody. It's a historical mystery with a badass female protagonist, and it's set in Egypt, and I love it. So I can't wait to read the rest of the series and see what other adventures the Peabody family gets up to. There. Next, ooh, that's a good one. Next we have a series of unfortunate events. I have all the books, and I bought this one at Borders, I think, when Borders was still a thing. And I just bought the first book, and I loved it. And then it does get worse, and the books get bigger. And I don't know. It gets worse. But I love it. And I loved finding out the mysteries and all that stuff. So that's a great book. Next on the list, we have, oh, this one too. This is the second book I read just in June, I believe. This is The Map of Time, the map of the sky, and the final book is A Map of Chaos, which I have somewhere in this house that I will get to eventually. but I really like them. It's I think I've talked about them before. It's H.G. Wells, and in this one it's about his time machine, and then it turns out to be real. And then Map of the Sky is about War of the Worlds, which turns out to be real. And then shit happens and timelines are changed, and it's all very weird and wacky, and I just love it. It's like sci-fi. It is sci-fi. I was gonna say sci-fi fantasy, but I don't even think it's fantasy. It's just straight up sci-fi weirdness. It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait to read the last book, and I'll also be sad because it's the last book. So that was 5. So this is my top 4, and these are my top 4. And I'm looking at them. I don't think they'll change. This is like, maybe like 3 and 4 can switch, but right now this is how I feel about them. So number 4 is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is the ultimate guide, and it has every book, I believe. It might be missing the last book. I'd have to double check. But I love this book series. It's hilarious, and like, look, a guide to the guide on helpful remarks from the author, which is great. And then, you know, it's like the universe was made, and it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea, and I just love the idea that Arthur's house is getting bulldozed, and then the same thing happens in space, which I won't spoil for you. But you should read it. Read the first one, and if you like the first one, you're definitely going to like the rest of them. Number 3 is the Temeraire series. I don't actually know how to say that, so if somebody could tell me how to say that in the comments, that would be amazing. I think his name is French from what I remember. And I don't do French, the language. So, yes, I would love to know how to say his name. I just love the series. It's about dragons and the Napoleonic War. That's like 2 of my favorite things mashed together. And I always think of as the dragons as like little, but then Naomi Novik describes the dragons as like, or like the people sitting on, and I'm like, oh yeah, dragons are actually very massive. And the series goes on, and it gets great, and they go to like Australia and Africa where there's dragons there, and it's just really, really fun to see how history has changed because dragons have been added to it. And I have 5, and I think there's like 3 or 4 more. Or do I have 6? I have 5 or 6, and there's like 2 to 4 more that I need to pick up. But I haven't done that yet. Okay, next we have Roger the Chapman series by Kate Sedley. It starts with Death and the Chapman. And this is not the first book I read. The very first book I read was it's like in the middle of the series. It's called The Weaver's Inheritance. And I picked it up from a bookmobile. Do they still have bookmobiles nowadays? I don't know. I don't go to school anymore. But I picked it up from a bookmobile, and I read it. I probably realized, because it basically they start out the same. It goes, Roger, I'm Roger. This is my family. This happened to my mom. This happened to my dad. And I'm a Chapman, which is just a traveling merchant. And he tells you that all the time in like the first couple chapters. And they're almost all 20 chapters, and so they're pretty short and they're pretty fast to go through. So I probably realized that The Weaver's Inheritance wasn't the first one, but I really liked it. Excuse me. And I never, like, I think I did try to go and look for it, and I would always remember it and be like, oh my god, I love that book. And then finally I found, I can't remember on what website, but I found the author and the titles, and then I think I bookmarked it, and then I found thrift books, and I was able to get them all. So I have all 21, I believe, and I've read them all. And they're all really amazing. And I think Kate Sedley is older now because there hasn't been a Roger book in quite some time. So probably the last one was the last one, which is kind of disappointing because I think Richard III had just become king, and Roger and Richard III have some connections. Starting here, or starting in the next book, I can't quite remember. And he's always bumping into Richard III, and it's really fun to see, again, that history from a different point of view. He's just a Chapman. He's basically like bottom of the barrel and everything. You know, he has to go around to the servant's entrance and just sell his wares. And it's really fun, and I really do enjoy these. And there's one book, it was book like 4 maybe. Oof, big oof. It just, the thing happened, and you found out everything, and I just got knocked in the face, and I was like, oh my god, because it had been so different from the 3 books before it, and you're just like, wow. And Roger was knocked for a loop, and then from then on I was like, oh shit, anything can happen in these books. So I do love them, and I hope there will be more, but there probably won't be. And finally, you all ready for this? I won't take. It's One Piece by Ichiro Oda, or Oda Ichiro, excuse me. And as you can see, this is volumes 82 through 84, so not the first one. I absolutely adore this series. I read it in Shonen Jump, and I was, oh wow, that's really cool. And then I lost touch with it. Excuse me. And I picked it up again, and I went, oh yeah, that was really cool, I love it. And in like the book, in the first volume at least, I can't remember the exact like chapter, something happens with little Luffy and his hero Shanks, and you're like, oh, that's cool, Shanks is just a badass. And then 400, 500 chapters later, yeah, Shanks is a badass, but Oda Ichiro had set up a thing. He set up something that wouldn't come into use until 400 chapters later. And you're like, oh my god, what the fuck are you doing? And he's done that a lot. He'll drop out like little hints about something, and then it's 500, 600 chapters later, and you're like, oh my god, that was in chapter 10, what the hell, mind blown. So yeah, it's really great. I cried over a boat, a ship. I've cried a lot over this stupid manga, and I love the characters. I can't, and apparently Ichiro Oda-san has it all planned out, and he knows exactly where it's going, and I love that in a story, because he's not, like a lot of the stories, they have a plan in the beginning, but they don't have a plan for the end, and I believe he has a plan for the end, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And it's gonna take about 1 billion years, because this is, let's see if I can find it. This has 848 chapters, and it's still going. They've just gotten to like a samurai country, I think, in the ongoing manga, which hasn't been volumized yet. And it's just, I love it. And this is like my go-to pre-order at Amazon. I think this is probably the only one out of the 9 that I would buy, that I would only buy new. I would never buy it used. And I'm like, I got this in May, I think, and I haven't opened it because I'm just like, ooh, do I wanna know? And I'm like, yeah, I do wanna know. So maybe I'll read this in August too. I just love it so much. It's the only one. It's the only new one I have. I don't think any of the others have been pre-ordered. Oh, it's gonna come out in September, so I'll probably pre-order that or order it for my birthday. Anyway, those are my top 9 books. My top 9 favorite book series. My top 9 favorite book series, and yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.